we are looking forward to another entertaining tie today. And it is the home side that get us underway. Lovely Saturday. The sun is shining. And it's an early throw for that home side. Gabby George throw. Player starting for the first time this season in the Women's Super League, as one of 3 changes made by Mark Skinner. Louise Quinn alongside me, and lots of goals in their last games, Louise, so we're not expecting a goalless draw in this one, are we?
No, not today. I think both these teams are in form in their attacking perspective, especially Man United at this stage. And, you know, Aston Villa, I think they create plenty of chances. I think sometimes they've struggled to put some of them away, but, you know, hopefully today is their day where they get, you know, everything right in these forward areas and give themselves the best chance.
Mark Skinner speaking before today's game, talking about the fact that his team was playing better football than they probably ever played. That's some statements. As it's rolled by Anna Patton back to D'Angelo in the Aston Villa goal. Back into midfield. Collected by Nelson for the home side, but now Aston Villa have it back. The team in the white kit with, as you would expect, Manchester United in their red and black. As it comes out to Wolfo, who turns it to that defence. A few of the players out there just shielding their eyes at the moment, as it's Turland who races forwards. And, well, D'Angelo took a bit of a shoulder to the face there, Louise.
Yeah, listen, we know the runner that Turland is, but she definitely left some on D'Angelo there. She had just gotten past the shoulder of Anna Patton and was continuing her run, and yeah, she certainly left one in there at the end, you know, showing that she's there. She's one of, you know, one of United's high flyers at the moment in attacking areas. 2 goals, 2 assists so far this season.
Well, D'Angelo came out to collect, and Turland just couldn't really halt her run necessarily, could she, really?
Yeah, listen, there was maybe a small little push just from Patton. Again, but just in the momentum of running, I don't think, you know, she meant too much by it. It's good to see D'Angelo has come away unharmed.
Ball is now with Rolfo. Comes down to Rolfo again. The attempt at the cross is blocked by Patton. Stays in play to be rolled back to Janssen. Letitia, the captain for the hosts, forward by Riviere. Aston Villa regain possession, turn it back to their goalkeeper. A Canadian in one goal, a USA international in the other. And now with Gabby George, player who has had some real struggles with ACL injuries, hasn't she, Gabby George? Good to see her starting this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. She's been, you know, always has been one of the best defenders in the English league for, you know, the past few years. I remember playing against her many a time, you know, when she was at Everton. And again, just brilliant to see her back in this starting lineup with her, you know, her first start of the season. And you know, she brings a lot. She's maybe naturally a little bit more, you know, as a central defender, as we know, but she can absolutely play in these full-back areas as well.
Long from D'Angelo. And it will drop all the way out of play.
I do wonder in this first half how Man United may cope a little bit with that sun coming directly at them. I've seen, you know, defensively, their hands up to the eyes to try pick out their pass going forward, but...
Well, you can see from those long shadows exactly where the sun is coming down onto this pitch. As you say, a few players having to shield their eyes. Lovely pass forward from Rolfo to Gabby George on the overlap, but easily dealt with by Aston Villa inside their penalty area. Ball comes back into midfield. Riviere with the square pass. Letitia to Janssen. Out to Rolfo, one of the new additions to this Manchester United side this season. Just brings the 2 Champions League trophies with her. I don't think she's allowed to bring the trophy, maybe a medal, but certainly scored a goal in a Champions League final as well. Here it's with Ella Toone. Important goals for her already this season. Rolfo with the cross in. And it was vital that Aston Villa got that away. But the danger not averted yet. Pressure still on from Manchester United. As eventually they will roll it all the way back to their goalkeeper, Tallis Joyce, who's out of her 18-yard box at the moment, and she's the goalkeeper that needs a cap in this first half, Louise.
Yeah, absolutely. Going old school potentially, doesn't have one at the moment, but listen, whatever it takes for Villa now, you know, it's use this to your advantage. Can you start getting, you know, crosses into the box, set pieces? You know, we know how dangerous Villa have been in their set pieces.
Here, though, it's Manchester United posing a danger. Cross in from the right-hand side this time.
Yeah, it's been busy down this left-hand side. We've seen Gabby George, Rolfo, Toone link up, but now we've seen Park on the ball down this right, and you know, you can see she's trying to pick out Rolfo, just coming in at that back stick, but just, yeah, a little bit overhit.
Jess Park and Ella Toone have linked up pretty well so far this season. The, of course, former Manchester City player who's made the move from blue to red. Here it's with Rolfo. Finds Toone. Toone with the delivery. Might drop back to Rolfo, who's chasing it forward. Comes out to the edge of the D. The shot this time is shut down at close range. It's Manchester United doing a lot of the attacking in the early stages of this game. Aston Villa have to stay strong.
Yeah, and they have been so far. That was a brilliant block by Taylor just on the edge of the box from Nelson. Then again, she just maybe needed to get it out of her feet a little bit quicker and just, you know, one-touch shot. I think she took too many touches there.
Chelsea with an early lead against Arsenal in the other game that kicked off at the same time as this one did. Of course, Chelsea, the league leaders, coming into this Barclays Women's Super League weekend. Yet to be beaten. Is that going to be the story again this senior season for Sonia Bonpastor's side? Ball out to Rolfo. Lovely pass back from Toone to find Rolfo's run. And again, Villa have to clear. And I thought it had gone out for a corner initially. And I think it does in the end off Anna Patton. Or does it?
I think she may have just recovered that. But again, brilliant link-up play on this left-hand side. Rolfo, dangerous ball in. You can see she's looking for Turlin to get across Patton, but Patton has picked up a lovely position just at the edge of that 6-yard box. And again, she's done well, recovered, no corner. very well ushered out.
So that not at the expense of a corner, which is good news for Aston Villa, who then are keen to get this ball to the other end of the pitch. George, though, will turn it back to her goalkeeper. I think Natalia Rojo will have expected this kind of challenge this afternoon, wouldn't she, Louise?
Yeah, absolutely. We know United in terms of their, attacking prospects. They're, world class up top and absolutely in form. But again, I think defensively, if Villa can stay solid, it is a back three, but that can obviously come back into a nice solid back five. Two wing backs that are absolutely willing to get high up the pitch in Maritz and Grant.
She's spoken about wanting to be a problem for bigger teams, the Aston Villa manager.
Yeah, and I think, I've seen a few of Villa's games this season, and they like to play out from the back, sometimes at a risk. But at the moment as well, I've seen this, but then they're also skipping lines, skipping that midfield into the, into the forward lines. There seems to be, big gaps in there for the likes of Taylor, Missy Bow-Kearns. Can they bring Mullis into the game a little bit now as well? She's been very much on form her last couple of games.
Ball is with Wilms for Aston Villa. Comes across to Grant. Wasn't part of the squad for the game against Everton. It is back in the team today. Player that the Aston Villa manager was saying ahead of this game is an important player for Villa, so good to have her back. And an important player for this Aston Villa side.
I think what I like herself, both Dutch players, herself and Wilms, really link up on this right-hand side. And it's just important that, Grant picks her moments, when to drop deep, when to maybe get beyond the shoulder of a United player in midfield that can skip lines. She's an incredibly powerful runner.
Ken's chasing the ball. Hansen tries to get there. Now Villa maybe with a little bit of space on that left-hand side, but don't head forward, instead turn it back. Haven't mentioned Lucia Kendall yet, but she just got a touch of the ball. Of course, England debut recently, player of the match as well. Not a bad way to start your senior experience for your country. Here it's with Grant. Villa with a foray forward, but it bounces off Georgia Mullet. And Tullis Joyce just tells her defenders that she's got this.
Yeah, just some nice little play through the centre of the pitch, 1-2 touch, and Mullet, she just couldn't hold that touch. I'm not sure if she was keeping it for herself or for Hansen, but again, it's been very much back and forth. United with the better of the chances, but nothing clear-cut yet.
Georgia Mullet, the second youngest player ever in the WSL to score and provide an assist in her first starts in the competition. The youngest player ever? Don't worry. Scottish, plays for Chelsea.
Oh, Erin.
There we go.
Yes, of course.
Ball is with George. Comes back out to George again. He's able to flick it forward to Rolfo. A player, I would say, in Rolfo, a signing that really indicates Manchester United's intentions.
Yeah, listen, she is a serious player, a serious winner, with Barcelona, with Sweden, who are constantly knocking on the door in, you know, on international football, winning medals. Yeah, listen, she walks into your dressing room and there's serious intent in that signing.
Waiting for her first goal in the Women's Super League. We're waiting for our first goal of this game. 5 goals in the last fixture involving Manchester United, 6 in Aston Villa's last Women's Super League game. Forward to Grant. Bounces just over the head of Hansen. But Aston Villa are forwards and keeping possession, maybe for the first time in this game so far, Louise, as the pass forward maybe just a bit too strong for the run of Grant, and it'll end up rolling out of play for a goal kick. Miri Taylor with the pass, but she couldn't find her teammates.
Yeah, exactly. It was just, again, a nice little passage of play. It's direct ball forward, I think, looking for Maritz, and then they get up into that final third, and they have to pick their moments, so they keep going, pushing forward, try to get a ball in the box. They generally like to recycle and then keep their possession from there, which is good, but just too much on the pass there from Taylor.
Brought down in midfield by Turland. It finds its way out to Rolfo. Rolfo into the 18-yard box. Toon. Back to Rolfo again. I think Wilms was the player who got in the way of that, Louise.
Yes, it was, and what a vital block it was. As we said, it's just, Rolfo running at you, and it is at Wilms first, but she carries on her run, she carries the block. It's also Missy Bo-Kearns who just comes in again with a vital touch.
Forward from Janssen, up into that bright sunshine. Mentioned that combination between Jess Park and Ella Toon, combined for 3 WSL goals this season, the most of any pair of teammates, and also have created 7 chances for each other. So that's really valuable, isn't it, that relationship has developed so quickly?
Yeah, exactly, and we've mainly seen these combinations down this left-hand side, but that is the freedom that Ella Toon also has. She likes to drift support. She comes looking for balls off defenders, but again, it's played around and through. She wants to be that, that playmaker, and just the link-up that they've had this season so far, and a fantastic signing in Jess Park that United have got as well. It just really makes it free-flowing.
Couple of goals for Ella Toon in the Women's Super League already this season. She was recently in British Vogue, I noticed. Very nice. She is Man United through and through, isn't she?
Absolutely. It's, you don't get that so often now, where you get to play for your childhood club, and it's
rolled forward from Grant, but Tullis Joyce will drop down onto that ball. Conceded 2 goals in that game against Brighton. That's the first time they've conceded 2 goals this season in a game. You'll tell me that it's not good to concede 2 goals, but I think if I was working with an attacking player, they'd say it's just good that you score 3 at the other end, Louise.
Yeah, absolutely. No, listen, I'd take a 1-0 over a 3-2 all day, personally. But yeah, listen, it was very, very tight in terms of that game, and Mark Skinner had said last week that, listen, it wasn't one of their best performances in terms of over a full 90 minutes, but it just shows, as long as you're still able to go forward, create chances, get the goals, you need, but I'm sure they'll, you know, rue those couple of goals.
Little shirt pull there from Patton leads to a free kick for the home side. Janssen turns it back to her captain, out to Riviere, who just has a slightly loose touch there. Picked up to be played forward to Hansen. Being denied the chance to get the cross in. And Letitia with some strength to win it back and play it back into the centre of the pitch. Nelson now back to her defenders. Mentioning the fact that Manchester United haven't conceded too many goals. Aston Villa didn't concede a goal during the whole of October, then conceded 3 against Everton, including going behind in that game, then having the lead in that game. It was certainly a topsy-turvy match that ended with Everton scoring their 3rd and the equaliser in the 94th minute of that game. Rolfo finds George. Now 2. Toon thinks about the cross, then leaves it to play it forward to George, who's carried on heading forward on this near side. George now back to Janssen and Letitia. Almost halfway through this first half. And I don't think either goalkeeper has really been tested so far, Louise.
No, it has. It's been fairly evens, I think, as well. Listen, United have definitely have the better of the ball, more entries into the final third, but for me, it's just the quality of crosses at the moment.
2. Forward to Rolfo again. Rolfo now cuts in. She decides to go for goal. Well, we're seeing that playing out again and again, aren't we? That ball out to Rolfo on this left-hand side.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, you know, that's a defender's nightmare with Rolfo. She will go inside, she will go outside, she can be, you know, direct. But Wilms just did very, very well there, tracking her, probably just put her off that last step before the shot.
Well, I mentioned that Rolfo scored in a Champions League final, and Wilms was in the losing team, Wolfsburg, on that occasion. So probably would have hoped to have seen the back of Rolfo, as here's a lovely move, this time down the Manchester United right-hand side. Now it's out to Hansen for Aston Villa. D'Angelo goes out off Missy Cairns. May have been Miyazawa perhaps, but no, it will be a Manchester United throw. Riviere finds Miyazawa, and then Manchester United decide to turn it back to their back line again. Try to build something from here, out to Rolfo, who it feels has had more touches on the ball than any other player on the pitch in the first half of this first half.
Yeah, she's been so creative. She knows moments when to just drop back slightly into space. She knows she has that link with Ella Toon centrally. Gabby George has also been getting on the outside of her.
Now forward from Park in midfield. George to Rolfo. And the referee says that's a goal kick. And Fridolina Rolfo and the fans think that should be a corner.
It did initially look like a corner again. Wilms. Oh, can't see. That must have gone out off Wilms. To me, it looks like. I think Villa just got away with one there. You can start to see Jess Park as, you know, she hasn't been massively in the game at the moment. It's really been coming down this left-hand side, and you could just see that last phase of play. She's drifting central, drifting to this United left-hand side, just to get herself in, get a few more touches, you know, link that play as well. And I think this midfielder has that freedom to do it in terms of, you know, the space created by Terland and, you know, the movement of Toon.
Picked up by Villa, and now they are racing forward. It's Hansen who's racing up the pitch. There's a brilliant chance. Georgia Mullet on target for Aston Villa. Lovely ball in from Hansen. Mullet at close range. And that's the best chance so far in this game, and it's fallen to the visitors.
Yeah, and this is what United haven't been able to do, is a brilliant drive forward by Hansen, and she picks out Mullet. Perfect, you can see her, just the eyes raised, and she just couldn't get enough power behind it, straight at the goalkeeper. Oh, it's a big chance missed.
So a save from the Manchester United goalkeeper. The ball is launched back into midfield. Taylor there for Aston Villa. Now forward from Delons. New addition, the French defender. Previously at Montpellier, joined in a free in the summer. Back on from Riviere, and then it flicks off a Manchester United head on its way back to that Aston Villa defence. Well, when these two teams met last season, Manchester United actually got a 4-0 win away against Aston Villa in March, and at the time Aston Villa were a point above the relegation zone. Then Aston Villa got 5 successive victories under Natalia Arroyo at the end of that season to finish really strongly.
Yeah, I think it was the strongest finish of the season that had, you know, from any team. So again, I think it, you know, it takes time. They finished the end of season brilliantly, Aston Villa, and, you know, she has a certain way she wants to play, and again, it's, you know, it's shown in some games, and it's just about getting it to click, you know, from each third, in terms of possession, in terms of their press. She does, you know, she wants to pride Aston Villa in terms of their forward press.
It actually finished here last season as a goalless draw, well, with Manchester United as the hosts. Probably shouldn't mention that right now, should I, with less than half an hour played. It is goalless at the moment, but best chance has been for Georgia Mullet and Aston Villa. Here it's with Rolfo. Now comes back to Janssen. Miyazawa. Grant standing in the way of Rolfo, who's forced to turn it back to her defence. Are you impressed with Aston Villa so far, Louise, from a defensive point of view?
Yeah, I think so. I think, again, you know, they are a...
As I speak, Manchester United try and play that forward to Terland.
But yeah, I think if you are Man United and if you can do it quickly, you know, the back three tend to get very split. You know, the wing backs may not be in position, but so far, I think United can, you know, start to move it a little bit faster as they were doing the first 5-10 minutes. You know, don't let Aston Villa get set and into their nice defensive position. You can see Chastity Grant is really helping Wilms down on this Aston Villa right-hand side. You know, just as that cover.
13 clearances so far, though, for Aston Villa. Here the ball is with 2. Janssen to Letitia. Lots of debates, or maybe not so much debate, unless you're Serena Wiegmann, about exactly where she should play for England. A wry smile from Louise Quinn about that one. That debate, that question. Is she a central defender or is she a right back?
Listen, personally, I think she's a central defender. Is it, brilliant that she can still get into that team as a right back? Maybe how her game develops and changes, but listen, she, I think for her and for your country, you will play wherever, sees fit in terms of the strength, they have in central areas.
Anna Patten just steps across and just takes it out of play. Just kind of cool as anything, really, there.
Yeah, she always has been. She's recently come into the national team for the Republic of Ireland, and as you say, she's just cool, calm, composed, reads the game really well, excellent on the ball, drives in centrally, and yeah, she's been brilliant for Ireland so far.
Riviere with the throw. Ends up back with George. Nelson now out to Letitia, and back with Riviere on that far side of the pitch. And it will go out of play. This will be a corner. No debate about this one.
No, I think again it's...
Just as I was saying, just as that looked to me as if I was absolutely convinced that had gone out for a corner.
The bounce is just falling for Villa at the moment. They're getting in tight on their tackles. And just that bounce of the ball at the moment is falling really well for Villa, but they're tight, they're close to their attacking players at the moment.
Over the head of Miyazawa. Now with Hansen. Hansen plays it to Wilms, who's come a little bit higher up the pitch. Players, including Missy Bokens, were waiting for the Villa cross from that left-hand side. The ball driven in. Might come back for a chance. Hansen's there, and it's blocked out of play by Letitia. Now, I'm going to say with confidence, this one's a corner.
This one, I am fairly sure, is an absolute corner. And again, they're just keeping the ball alive. Going from this Aston Villa left-hand side to the right. Could have got a cross in a little bit earlier, but they've done well to keep possession. Shot looked on target by Hansen there, so a vital block from Letitia.
So corner for Aston Villa as we edge towards the last 10 minutes of this first half. Lots of players milling about inside the 6-yard box. Lots of Aston Villa players waiting on the far side of the Manchester United goal. Referee just having a conversation between the two players, Toon and Wilms. And just a little nudge maybe, but not a huge amount in that as the corner is eventually taken. The corner comes in, clear, but then struck back in, and Aston Villa have taken the lead. And it's Miri Taylor with the strike to put the visitors ahead here. 10 minutes before half-time. Celebrations on the pitch and in the dugout. It is Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 1.
Wow, again, just from another set piece, Villa just have been looking dangerous this last 5-10 minutes. Dangerous ball in. Thomas Joyce with the punch, but just centrally, and again no one is there to close Miri Taylor. She has to wait for that to bounce, but struck beautifully. She had to adjust just slightly and through a crowd of players, but fantastic composure, and it just swings away, just the laces outside of the right boot, and here we go, 1-0 Aston Villa.
Her first WSL goal of the season in only her second start. Here it's with Rolfo. Manchester United keen on an instant response. But despite all of Manchester United's efforts, Aston Villa have had the better clear-cut chances so far.
Yeah, I think Villa have just been sharper in the opposition box. They've been, you know, picking out the crosses they've needed. They're getting a corner, keeping it alive. Again, they've just utilised the ball a lot better than United have.
So Villa opening the scoring from a corner. Now Manchester United have a corner of their own, which they're able to head away. Now comes back out to Toon. Toon's ball is dealt with. Drops to Riviere, who's the furthest player back, outfield player back for the home side, now with Rolfo. So Aston Villa taking the lead through Miri Taylor against a Manchester United side who are unbeaten so far this season in the 7 games that they have played. Ball with George. Now with Janssen and Laetitia. Miyazawa manages to keep the ball and take it away from Cairns. Might drop down to Nalsons. And now it's Hansen racing forward. Laetitia keeping an eye on the Aston Villa number 20. But Hansen gets past her. She has, though, got 2 Manchester United players to deal with. Cairns, though, will get there. Has she won her side a free kick? You see Bo Cairns, the player who's down on the pitch, and is gradually getting herself back to her feet. And it was Riviere who...
Yeah, it's just really smart play. Again, from Villa, they're just, you know, in terms of transition, I feel like, especially down the United right-hand side, they don't have the width. Riviere is unsure whether to go forward. And it's just, they're getting lost and then getting, you know, Hansen, in terms of her, you know, dribbling, driving forward, has been excellent today down this left-hand side. And again, it just gives Aston Villa another chance from another set piece.
Goal from a corner already in this first half. Now they will try something from this free kick. A free kick that finds a Manchester United head to be cleared away. And it comes forward again. Back out to Grant. Grant with the cross. It spins dangerously. And Riviere just has to get her head to it to take it out of play for another corner for Aston Villa. Before today, only Manchester City had scored more goals from set pieces than Aston Villa this season. It's now all square at 5 after... We can say that they scored from that corner, can't we? I think that was that volley from Taylor. Another corner now for Aston Villa. And it's a no-nonsense clearance from the Manchester United captain. But what a difference a goal has made. Just in terms of, I think, the positivity from Aston Villa. Not that they weren't positive before that, but also there's an added urgency, I think, from Manchester United.
Yeah, again, it's just in terms of, yes, their confidence going forward. They know at the moment Riviere is a little bit in between positions, trying to, you know, support the attack, but is leaving a lot of space down the Man United right-hand side, and Kirsty Hansen is taking absolute advantage of it. And we've seen Grant now really come into the game on this right-hand side, and she sometimes drifts central.
Well, she's in a bit of space now here if she can be found, but there are a fair few players for Hansen to get through. Just that mention of set pieces. Aston Villa only scored from 2 set pieces the whole of last season. So they've already improved on that quite significantly. They seem to be coming back into fashion again, set pieces, don't they? Not that they ever went away.
No, but sometimes
the work on them, I suppose.
Exactly,
yeah.
Absolutely, and I think it is. It's, you know, I've been there many a time, many teams, and players don't tend to like on set pieces. Listen, it can be a rainy Saturday, you have your game on Sunday, you don't want to be standing around the cold, but they win you games. You know, they are vital, and they are a massive, you know, influence in terms of how momentum can turn in a game.
I imagine your job was to get your head to it at either end, right?
Yeah, that's all I was used for. Yeah, that's all I was used for.
No, not at all. Right, forward for Manchester United. Are Aston Villa going to take this lead into the break? Ball is with Grant. Now, D'Angelo. And it's Janssen who makes sure to turn it away from her goalkeeper and take it further up the pitch. Still going. As eventually it drops back to Rolfo. Now with George. Ella Toon was saying, give it to me, play it to my feet, and Gabby George does exactly what she was asked to do. But now it's back with Miyazawa. With Park. Back to Park again. George might be the recipient of this pass. So it's played to Rolfo. Back to 2. Just a couple of minutes left of this first 45. And it may be that Taylor goal for Aston Villa will take them in with the lead at the break. And we're waiting for the first shot on target from Manchester United in this game, which is really surprising.
Very surprising. Just, you know, we're just maybe starting to see a little bit of frustration here for United, and you know, I thought they were very free-flowing in the first 10-15 minutes.
Well, this is the goal that separates the two sides as we head towards the break. A ball that bounced to the volley from Miri Taylor. There was an Aston Villa player down on the ground, wasn't there? Yeah, was it Wilms? Yeah, don't
Lucky
touch
she
that.
didn't, yeah, exactly. Lucky she didn't get a touch. She wanted to claim that, but no, it was good. The strike was, you know, maybe not the cleanest, but she knew what she also wanted to do. Just get it with the outside of her laces, composed.
It's just about being prepared, isn't it, for one of those balls to spin out from a clearance, and then who knows what the outcome might be. How much more time will there be added on at the end of the first half? Of course, we've had that goal, but apart from that, it's been a fairly free-flowing first 45. Manchester United running out of time to make things all square before that half-time whistle is blown by the referee, Abigail Byrne. Out to Riviera now, Letitia with Janssen. Now George out to Rolfo. I mean, Manchester United, this is kind of hard work for them at the moment, isn't it? It's not helped if they keep playing it back to their defenders, Louise.
Absolutely, and patience is key, but it just has to be done with speed and quality at the same time. You know, don't slow down the speed of the ball. You know, there's moments there where it's fine, switch once, twice, perfect. You have to move this Aston Villa side, who are in a really nice block, but again, we're just missing the link of just some inside passes to look forward at the moment.
It feels a little laboured currently, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's what Mark Skinner is probably going to say once he goes into this dressing room. Up the tempo. You know, Aston Villa are closing the spaces quickly, they're doing it well, but they are there. They just need to find that final pass which can break through this Villa side.
Well, Aston Villa have the last touch of a first half as the half-time whistle goes, and it is Miri Taylor's goal that gives the visitors the lead here at the break. At half-time, it is Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 1 for Aston Villa in the Women's Super League. As it is the team who lead 1-0 at half-time who get the second 45 underway. Just looking at my stats during half-time, Manchester United unbeaten in their 10 previous meetings against Aston Villa and kept clean sheets in 7 of those 10. That is not going to be the case this afternoon. I'm Emma Jones, Louise Quinn alongside me, former Birmingham, Arsenal, Republic of Ireland. Neither manager making a change at half-time, Louise, but those, of course, will come during the course of this second half.
Yeah, you would imagine so, just to mix things up, but I'm sure it's just kind of, you know, a few tactical tweaks that will definitely have to come from Man United's point of view, especially in the final third. I just think they need to, you know, use dead ball situations, go a bit quicker, take throw-ins quicker, and just move the ball a little bit more quality. It hasn't really been there for them in this first half, and for Villa, I think, you know, more of the same.
So much information around and about Mark Skinner there. He's got tablets and tactics boards and who knows what else. Arms folded by the Manchester United manager.
I think a lot just also needs to come from the players in terms of their quality on the ball. You know, they've gotten into Aston Villa's final third quite a lot, but again, the quality in around that area has been, from my perspective, it's been poor in terms of balls in the box and, you know, recycling the ball again. They're going all the way back instead of keeping that pressure on.
Well, it does look as if there might be a player about to come on, doesn't it? We're not too far into this second half, but perhaps a change is on its way. Ball comes in field to Park. Park then is squeezed between a couple of Aston Villa players, including the goal scorer. Able to play it forward, though, and find Toon. Ball back out to Park. Quick pass back to Toon. Toon with the delivery to the edge of the 6-yard box. Drops back in again, and Villa able to shepherd it back to their goalkeeper. And we are now understanding why perhaps Manchester United were looking into the sun in the first half. Perhaps they've elected for Aston Villa to have to be shielding their eyes from the sun in this second 45.
Yeah, it is. It's very strong, soon to be its highest point. And listen, it can't be underestimated at times, I think, especially for defenders and goalkeepers.
So I would recommend a cap under these conditions, but you can see how brightly the sun is shining, how long those shadows are, and how much D'Angelo is having to just cover her eyes, just shield her eyes, just be able to see that ball coming at her. That will be an extra advantage for Manchester United in this second half, as perhaps it was for Aston Villa in the first.
Yeah, I think it was. It was, you know, a well-worked set piece from Aston Villa for their goal, but they overloaded, you know, Tullis-Joyce in that, and she wasn't able to get a clean punch. You know, a lot of bodies around there. You know, bit of sunshine. It all adds up to not getting that quality that you want in a firm punch.
Ball with Rolfo. Now it's rolled back to Tullis-Joyce, who we were learning at half-time is a big fan of scuba diving. So that's a hobby of hers when she's not in goal for Manchester United.
I just used to go for coffee. Never, you know.
I'm surprised that any professional athlete is allowed to go scuba diving by their manager. But we were talking about how bright the sun was just as it bypassed D'Angelo, and she had to chase back to collect it. That's the challenge that she and her defenders face in this second half. But it is Aston Villa that have the leads at the moment. A Manchester United team that started the season with a 4-0 win against Leicester, beating London City Lionesses 5-1. Goalless draw against Arsenal, win against Liverpool, a draw against Chelsea as well. So they've already played Arsenal and Chelsea early this season. As here, the shot is on. Well, it looked like it was from Lisa Nelson. And I wonder just how close that was to a second.
Yeah, very close. You can see all the United players are dragged. That's just Moritz drifting in from that left-hand side. You know, she is in that wing-back area. Hansen probably meant the touch for herself, but, you know, in general, a beautiful pass to Moritz, just wide of that post.
Yeah, sorry, Moritz. She had a number 16 on her back, but it was the other team. Moritz with the shot for Villa. And even though there were no changes at the start of this second half, I think we might be expecting Mark Skinner to look to his bench fairly soon. So we're only 6 minutes or so into this second 45. But I think, having seen what he's seen at the start of this second half, there will be changes quite soon. Melvin Mallard, perhaps unsurprisingly, one of those players who is coming off. Here, though, it is with Aston Villa, and it's Hansen who drops down inside the penalty area. Still with Villa, out from Cairns. Now comes in for a shot that's deflected. It was Kendall this time. And Manchester United just need to settle themselves somewhat, don't they?
Yeah, their back line just seemed to get extremely narrow, which is providing protection in terms of that central area and the goal. But it just left so much time for Aston Villa to play and set themselves for a cross or a set there for Kendall, who can get her shot off.
Well, the shot took a deflection. So we have another corner for Aston Villa early in this second half. And I think Patton there is saying, I didn't get the last touch. I must admit, my first instinct was that that was going to be a second corner. And it definitely goes out off the back of Rolfo.
Oh, wow. That's... Villa are going to feel very hard done by there. That is a clear corner again. You could even see the players are setting up.
So Malar comes Turland is the player who she replaces. Gabby George also makes way as one of the changes. And so that is the second substitution made by the home side. Anna Sandberg, and Rolfo comes off too. And it is Leah Galton who replaces her. So 3 changes made by Mark Skinner in an attempt to get his team back into this game. He's waited for sort of 9 minutes essentially of the second half and gone, no, I now need to make some changes.
Yeah, listen, I think that's even, I suppose you want to see again how Villa may set up, and if there's then any tweaks that you can make in terms of tactical decisions for your players coming on.
Two goalkeepers on the Manchester United bench, and not a huge number of players on the Aston Villa bench, we noticed. 5 outfield players available for the Aston Villa manager, and 3 changes just made by Mark Skinner for the home side. So he's pretty much changed that left-hand side, hasn't he? And it's now Malar for Turland, who wasn't seeing a huge amount of the ball in the first half. Was that just due to any decent deliveries coming to her, do you think?
Yeah, for me, I thought, you know, the quality of ball into the box was, you know, was poor from United, and they like to play their way through.
Here, though, it's with Hansen. Hansen maybe with a chance. Le Tissier tries to push her wide. A save at the near post. And that felt like it was started from a rather kind of relaxed attitude from Manchester United that gave Hansen that chance for Aston Villa to maybe score a second goal in this game.
Yeah, again, just playing out from the back, and we know that Arroyo, she wants her team in terms of their press to be sharp, to pick up on loose balls. Man United have been loose today. You know, well saved, you know, well done to keep it out for a corner, but again,
they're forward again. Here it's with Cairns. It was just somewhat scuffed because Miyazawa stayed with her. Missy Bo Cairns with the latest opportunity for this Aston Villa side. And at the moment, all you can see is Aston Villa extending their lead rather than Manchester United getting a goal back in this game.
Yeah, Villa just being direct ball from D'Angelo, little touch from the midfielder, and she's in. Miyazawa, wow, she's just done fantastic there. What an absolute fantastic defensive slide tackle to keep her team in the game.
But guess what? It's another corner for Aston Villa. This one to the far post. It's Galton who might have got her head to it. Comes back in. Grant tries to make contact. Now it's with Kendall, who is just leaning backwards as it ends up being struck into those fans behind the Manchester United goal.
Yeah, she just didn't seem confident there on the edge of the box. It dropped down nicely, and the first opportunity, I felt she should have just put her foot through it. And again, it falls for her again, and well over the bar. But Aston Villa, I think, have just been so threatening going forward at the moment.
I was going to say Natalia Arroyo is probably quite happy at the moment, but she didn't look it from those images. I think she's just having a chat with her coaching staff. I think it is Mark Skinner is perhaps the more concerned at the moment. His team need to get into this game. Malar's got a lot of work to do to get to that before D'Angelo does. And it's collected by the Aston Villa goalkeeper, who hasn't had a real shot to save yet in this game, and we're not far away from the hour mark being reached.
Yeah, this is not the United we've seen of late. We have, you know, seen them in a similar position against Everton through the season. You know, and they managed to get 4 goals from this point on. So, listen, they're still an absolute quality team, but they need to just tidy up on a lot of their ball possession.
Do have it up the pitch now with Galton. Back to 2. 2 more try and find the substitutes. Then the cross comes in, it was dropped. Well, it looked for a moment if D'Angelo would not get her gloves onto that, with Mallard right on her shoulder. But it does stick in the end.
Yeah, just, and we've seen, you know, great to have Galton back from injury, and straight away she has that impact. She presses defenders relentlessly. You know, she is non-stop, and she's done so well there, and a nice little clip ball back into the box. And just held on there by D'Angelo.
As you say, Leah Galton only made her first appearance in the game against Everton, an 80th minute sub as she returned from injury. And, well, let's hope she's all right after that. She seems okay, doesn't she? She's made of tough stuff.
I've played against her many times, and she's a nightmare. She's a brilliant player.
Good to have her fit again, I'm sure, for this Manchester United team, who are looking forward to a Champions League game at Old Trafford on Wednesday. Paris Saint-Germain are the team they will be playing.
Nice and easy.
But how brilliant that they're getting the opportunity to play in games like that. And they are looking forward to that one very much. Oh, and then they've got to go away to Manchester City after that. It's a home game for Aston Villa against London City Lionesses. That's their next game in the Women's Super League. Ball is out to Galton. And now to Riviere. Back out to her on the right-hand side. Decent ball in, has to be punched away. I'm not sure she could see a great deal of that, really, in this blazing sunshine. And Villa will try and play it forward through Hansen. Ball out to Sandberg. So some more changes are imminent. And a young player that we might need to introduce when she comes on in a minute, Louise. Or maybe not.
Just a bit of experience under her belt,
yeah.
I think.
Throw ends up with Nelson. Letitia. Miyazawa. Changes made by Manchester United have yet to lead to a change in the scoreline here, but now they are headed forwards. Ball released to Park, comes to Riviere, who then clips it to the far post. Might fall to Mallard, all sorts of players there. Toon, a really important block from Patton. Ella Toon from close range. Anna Patton to the rescue.
Anna Patton, there she is. That was a fantastic body on the line. Lovely ball in the box by Riviere. There's Galton up challenging Mallard. Toon, she just could not get the contact she wanted. But Anna Patton, fantastic positioning on the goal line, always looking for those threats. Brilliant defending.
It's a shot on target from Manchester United, and we have hit the 64th minute of this game. And now a little bit of treatment to a player who is down. I think it's Vilms, isn't it? Who's the player who the medical staff have come on to give a bit of rehydration to, a bit of medical attention to as well. Might be a chance for her and the rest of her team just to catch their breath for a moment after that chance from Manchester United that might well have made things all square here in this game.
Yeah, I think Vilms did go up for that challenge in the air.
But this is the goal that separates the two sides at the moment. This in the 35th minute of the game. I'm not sure if she knew quite how to celebrate that one. But there are going to be a few changes made, and Georgia Mullet makes way. And the player who comes on is a certain Rachel Daly. So that is a change made by Aston Villa. And Lisa Nelson is the player who is coming off for Manchester United. Their fourth change of this game. Giulia Zighiotti is the player who comes on for her. First summer signing for Manchester United. Of course, the former Brighton player. Spent last season, though, at Bayern Munich, the Swedish international. And Rachel Daly, you might have heard of her. She can play in all sorts of positions, and she can score from all sorts of positions. And she is evergreen, isn't she?
She really is, and she brings, you know, really nice technical with her feet, but fantastic in the air as well. Aerial ball, her timing is, you know, almost perfect every time.
Here it's forwards for Manchester United. Riviere to the far post. Toon is there. Really good stop from D'Angelo. There's no getting through this Aston Villa defence and their goalkeeper at the moment. As hard as Manchester United try.
I'm not sure, that potentially looked like a handball to me. Films, I think. There definitely were a few shouts.
Forward to Park. I think Park maybe let it go. I wondered if Delonza got the last touch on that, actually. But this is what you were wondering might lead to shouts of a handball, and it is Films, but she's got both arms behind her back as that Toon ball is played in. Oh, but then her left arm is just lifted out to her side.
Yeah. Oh, that could be harsh on United. I think that could have been.
Comes into Zighiotti, now with Miyazawa. With Riviere, two Villa players just shut her down and try and stop it going out for a corner. But don't manage to.
Almost. I think some of these changes now for United with Zighiotti coming on, I think it's going to give Jess Park and Ella Toon a little bit more freedom to move. Zigioshi, she will, wants to get on the ball in every moment. Create space.
Manchester United with a corner. Just over 20 minutes left to play. It's a low one to the near post. And I think Kirsty Hansen's... Well, initially I thought she was holding her head. Now she seems to be holding her stomach. And the referee is quickly asking for the medical staff to come back on. And so another break in play. And will she be forced into another change?
I think it was potentially just, a little bit of a shove in the back, nothing too much, but a bit of contact with the head, maybe winded then by the challenge as well.
So the treatment continues to Kirsty Hansen, and as I say, I thought at first she seemed to be holding her head. Might be her head and her stomach, perhaps.
Just winded, I think.
Scotland international, former Manchester United, of course, Kirsty Hansen. Was at the club between 2018 and 2023 before initially joining Aston Villa on loan. One of the players who has signed a contract in the summer to extend their deal. It's another corner. Might come to Riviere, strikes it through bodies. It gets a block from Daly on its way out. So demonstrating her defensive skills, of course, which we know of as well from the Aston Villa number 9.
Yeah, very well positioned just in the front post area, gets the first touch and is there to block the second.
Zawa will launch it out of play. They're trying at the moment, Manchester United. We've seen that attempt from Ella Toone in the last few minutes. But currently, they have not scored a goal in this game. And they are a team that are the leading goal scorers in the WSL so far this season. 19 goals before today in the 7 games that they have played. Aston Villa will have known that they would have been busy defensively. And Manchester United are being frustrated at the moment. And a change that's being made. Sarah Mayling is the player who is coming on. A big fans' favourite, of course, at Aston Villa. Chastity Grant comes off after 70 minutes. And that was probably one that was planned, I would imagine, by the Aston Villa head coach, as here it's with Park. Park's able to find Mallard. Mallard, another Villa block to bring it back out to this right-hand side, and Riviere. Riviere who finds Mallard. Mallard with a ball into the 6-yard box. Villa try and hook it away. Now forward to Cairns. Now with Galton. Neither side is keeping this ball for a great deal of time, are they? Possession is changing hands regularly.
Yeah, and United have just come in, and again, it's actually a really dangerous ball into that box from the United right-hand side, but there was no one there. No one making a run across the front post.
And now it's Daly, who won't get there before Janssen helps out her goalkeeper. Tallis Joyce will take it out of play. Manchester United in 3rd place in the table before this game. Aston Villa, with a win, will be moving up the league table. So it will be a big 3 points for Aston Villa and a damaging defeat for Manchester United if this game stays as it is. But we've got 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes left to play.
Big from Maritz there. She does not back out of tackles. I think, you know, it can potentially show with the amount of cards she has this season, has been suspended already. But, you know, she is that player that you want as your teammate. She doesn't back out. She drives the team forward, a massive amount of experience playing with Arsenal and Switzerland.
Yeah, as you say, sent off in a League Cup game against Tottenham, which meant she missed 3 league games for Aston Villa. Just a reminder, Aston Villa are actually a game behind a lot of the other teams because of the match against Liverpool that has been rescheduled. As Manchester United with Riviere are able to throw this ball into the Aston Villa box. Forward from Sandberg. And Atum wants it back and gets it with 2. Now it's Villa who are bursting forward. Hansen still with all that energy to take it all the way to the other end of the pitch, and then Hansen tries to curl it in. Well, she took it from one end of the pitch to the other, and she decided to have a go, Kirsty Hansen.
She's been relentless today down in these wing positions, driving, bringing her team forward. You know, we see her, she has a wicked left foot, just cuts back in. Not, you know, absolutely not the strike she wanted, but she is such a threat in these wing positions.
Now with Mala. Mala comes in. She looked for a moment as if she just had no other options except for to keep the ball herself and try and create an opportunity. Comes back now, though, and it's another ball, this time from Ziggiotti, which is dealt with by Villa on the edge of their box. Back out to Ziggiotti again. The ball that's played in just ends up rolling out on the far side of the pitch.
Yeah, they're still just really lacking that quality for me. I think, you know, Villa are really getting players back 5, midfielders coming back to help. You know, for me, get it to the end line, pull back. For me, that's the only way you can start breaking a really deep block. Get it past them, pull back. You know, generally still on their feet, but again, it hasn't clicked just for United yet.
So, more movement on the benches. Is it Rachel Williams coming on?
That is Rachel Williams.
If you're in need of a late goal, she is the person that you call on. In case of emergency, break glass.
Again, playing against her, absolute nightmare. No fear, timing. She always just pops up in the right moment.
Here it's with Laetitia. Manchester United inside the Aston Villa half. I was going to ask if Villa are just kind of holding on to this 1-0 lead, but when they got the opportunity, Hansen absolutely raced down the pitch to try and create another goal-scoring opportunity. Here it's with Riviere into Park. Another Aston Villa block. Comes to Laetitia and back to Riviere to the far post, and it's a header that's wide of the target from Galton. And at the moment, it feels like there are more Aston Villa players on the pitch, doesn't it, than the Manchester United players. They feel like there are more players in white than there are in red.
Yeah, absolutely. Man United, they need to get their numbers up. They need to start occupying players in the box. Balls are coming in, and listen, sometimes we can say the cross isn't great, but the numbers are not there in the box for United, and the movement, you know, to shift that block.
Forward to Hansen. Hansen's got Letitia for company. Just leans into the number 20, the Manchester United captain. She's starting to feel it now, Kirsty Hansen. She's made a few of those runs over the course of the last 79 minutes. She wants to get on the score sheet today here.
Yeah, she's created so much for her team, and just getting them up the pitch, keeping them up here, and then they can, you know, pick up on loose balls again.
Into the last just over 10 minutes. And it's just the one goal in the 35th minute of this game that is the difference at the moment. Are Aston Villa heading towards a famous victory against Mark Skinner's side? Daly forward. Is the flag going to go up as this ball is collected? It's Cairns who is still going, but I did wonder if she might be offside, Louise.
Yeah, it did look. Initially, she started her run early, you know, unless there was a player on this far side, but not called, and a good run through on goal, just couldn't finish.
Comes down off her head in midfield. It might be clipped forwards. Now it's Mallow who drops down onto the pitch. Play continues as it comes to Daly. Daly then gives it to Cairns. Cairns with a strike that'll go out for an Aston Villa corner. It's a player who played an awful lot of her football at Liverpool before making the move to Aston Villa. And before this corner is taken, Manchester United will make another change. And Jess Park is the player who is coming off. And it is Rachel Williams who replaces her on the pitch. So Rachel Williams, we saw her in conversation with her manager, and now she comes on. The first thing she will have to do is help her team defend this corner. As it's whipped in, and it's ending up with Riviere. It's Daly who makes sure it goes out for a throw-in.
Yeah, such a dangerous ball back in on top of the keeper. Plenty of bodies to try come through. Again, not the cleanest of punches, which led to Aston Villa's first goals, but managed to clear their lines just about.
Villa then with the throw. Comes back to Moritz. Still able to cut this back. And it's Kendall who strikes it into the stewards. Just under 3,500 watching on. And I'm going to suggest that most of those are not particularly happy with the scoreline at the moment. Of course, the home fans. At the moment, Manchester United are going to fail to score in a game and are going to lose for the first time this season. It'll be a second win for Aston Villa, who have been getting a fair few draws so far. Up to Cairns. Now it's lifted. Hansen tries to get her head onto it, manages to do that, but it'll just bounce up and then back down to Tallis Joyce. Plays it out from the back. At this stage, should she just be playing that ball just further up the pitch quicker, do you think, Louise?
Yeah, for me, listen, they now have a target player in Rach Williams. Galton, such a willing runner. They really need to start pushing themselves in, get the ball into dangerous positions. Yes, it's nice to play it around and do this, but this is not what they need right now.
Rolled into the penalty area. Still going Manchester United, looking for a late equaliser here perhaps. It's Sandberg who was there. She decides not to go for goal. Now it's a promising cross in, it's onto the head of Williams. And that's exactly where she needed to be. It's a save from D'Angelo, but it's a shot on target from the 37-year-olds.
Listen, and this is what United are building up to doing. They're trying to getting themselves in the right areas, get the ball into the box. We know how dangerous she is. The contact just wasn't exactly there, but this is the threat she brings constantly.
Her first ever goal for Manchester United was in a 5-0 win against Aston Villa at Old Trafford on December of 2022. It's interesting that Manchester United have had 4 shots on target. Of course, we know that one of Aston Villa's shots on target was the one that has led to the goal. They've also had almost 2/3 of the possession. But now it's a ball forward from Daly. Cairns tries to play it in. Ends up being turned into the side netting.
Yes, again, Rachel Daly with a lovely touch on the halfway line, just slides. Cairns just into the box, gets another little nick, and just another dangerous corner. Potentially can Villa, will they try keep the ball, or are they going to go for it, try get a second?
4 minutes left of the 90. Another corner for the side, leading by a goal to nil. Late on, and it's Letitia who's able to head it back out to Delons, who was the player who took the corner. And then it will drop back out of play. Villa with a throw, short to Cairns. Then bounces into the stands. Man United will be keen to get this ball back on as quickly as possible. Delons forwards. Mallard inside her own half. Plays it to Riviere, forward to Williams. She's got 2 or 3 Aston Villa players pulling at her, keeps her balance. Manchester United keep possession. Turned back to Riviere in the end. Now with Zighiotti. Riviere with the cross, Mallard tries an overhead kick. I thought it might drop for 2, and there were appeals from the Manchester United players for something.
Looking for a penalty there. wasn't on. Going down too easy.
Now with Laetitia. Up to the chest of Zigiotti. Zigiotti tries to find Mallard. She's asking for something here. It was Delons, the player just behind her. I think this is about frustration more than anything else, isn't it, Louise, at this stage?
Absolutely, yeah. I think a lot of things haven't gone their way. Calling for a corner here again. Not sure if it was Delons there who got the last touch. United players seem to think so.
Late goals in the last fixtures for these two sides, but the late goal for Brighton in Manchester United's most recent win made very little difference to the scoreline, just meant Brighton had scored 2 to Manchester United's 3. But Everton, with a late stoppage time equaliser that meant that Aston Villa shared the points in their game. And here is what is happening elsewhere. And Arsenal have scored a late equaliser by the looks of things. Will it stay like that? Chelsea had the lead in that game, but it is 1-1 now between Renee Slager's side and Sonia Bonpastor's team. So 6 minutes, a minimum of 6 minutes more to be played. Changes made by both sides in this second half. And the home fans are trying to act as that 12th player at the moment. This is Manchester United side, the top scorers in the Women's Super League so far this season. But they have been prevented from creating a huge amount by Aston Villa this afternoon.
Yeah, massively. I just think, you know, the shift defensively from the whole team has been brilliant, and then attacking, going forward, they've just been lightning, have used the space, have used the ball so well. Really, really smart, and just executed the game plan brilliantly.
Here it's with Laetitia, so Manchester United have the ball with their defence, but as it's passed back to the Aston Villa team, it is a player in white who you've nominated, Louise, as your player of the match.
Yeah, for me, it's been Kirsty Hansen today. I just thought she's been brilliant in terms of, you know, Aston Villa driving them forward, bringing the team up, you know, creating chances. She's put in a massive shift. She comes back defensively, she gets back forward. Listen, I could have given it to any of the backline either, to be fair. And Mary Taylor obviously needs a shout herself, but I just thought Hansen has absolutely emptied the tank here, and she comes off for these final 4 minutes. But for me, she's been brilliant today.
Yeah, it's a good job you mentioned her before she got replaced. Perfect timing there. Natalia Arroyo thanking Kirsty Hansen, as it is Ebony Salmon who comes on for the last few minutes of this game. Ball with Williams and out to Riviere and then Zigiotti. Manchester United still frustrated by this Aston Villa side as time is running out. Out to Zigiotti again. And an effective block there by an Aston Villa player. Comes back to Zigiotti. That's a really good ball in. And it's another header from Rachel Williams. She's still got it, hasn't she?
Oh, so good in terms of her rise. Yes, there's, a little bit of argy-bargy with the defender, but again, the power she gets behind the header, and it's just straight at D'Angelo. You just need to keep getting the ball wide, getting balls in the box if they want to pull a goal back here.
Couple of shots on target, couple of headers on target for Rachel Williams since coming off the bench. Now forward from Kendall. And at this stage in the game, Louise, are you just thinking Aston Villa just want it as far away from their goal as possible?
Yeah, absolutely, but they're doing it with such quality.
Maybe there's another goal in this.
Yeah, it's just the quality in which they've done so. They haven't panicked. They've absorbed pressure from United, but then they've been so good in terms of their defending from the front and their quality on the ball. They have not played with fear today at all. It's been a really, really confident performance from Villa.
I wasn't sure if Ebony Salmon might fancy a shot on target, but what she did sensibly there is just take the ball to the corner. Just allow a few more seconds to elapse. Mallard. Villa standing their ground at the moment, heading towards a victory against Manchester United. So many goals in the last games for both of these two sides in the league, but it might just be the one in this game that is the difference. Williams waits. And is this a corner for Manchester United? Yeah.
Oh, Thomas Joyce is up.
This is one of those moments, isn't it? Everybody up. The goalkeeper comes up too, because time is running out for Manchester United to get anything from this game, or ends up coming off the crossbar. Riviere tries to pull it back in. Mallard gets her head to it. It's another header as well. Comes down to Mallard, and then Villa players just take it back to the halfway line. Was that it? Was that the last moment for Manchester United to get anything from this game?
That was it. That was the chance. Crossbar. Such a dangerous ball into the box. Bodies everywhere. Oh, does D'Angelo get a little touch? Potentially. Oh, just crossbar, I think. That was the moment.
And the Aston Villa goalkeeper now taking all the time that she's allowed to take this goal kick. Aston Villa are about to beat Manchester United in the Women's Super League. It feels like there is no time now for Mark Skinner's side to get any points, and that is the whistle blown, and the celebrations can start from the Aston Villa manager and her players. She said she wanted to make her team tougher against the bigger teams, and she has done just that this afternoon. Miri Taylor being hugged by her teammates. It was her strike in the 35th minute of this game that has given Aston Villa the victory. They will take the 3 points home, and Manchester United are beaten for the first time this season. It has finished Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 1.
See you next time.
Well, Mark Skinner with a big game to think about in the Champions League in midweek. He's got a game against Manchester City to think about, but he'll be studying this game, and I think other teams that will be up against Manchester United this season will also be studying what Aston Villa managed to do this afternoon.
Yeah, I just think Aston Villa tactically were brilliant. They are in a, this 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, whatever you want to call it, and they were just brilliant all over the pitch. I cannot take it away from Aston Villa today. Brilliant defensively, from back to front, winning their 50-50 challenges, and then just being, once they had the ball, they just used it so well, used those wide areas. Kirsty Hansen, I think she's still stretching her hamstrings in terms of the shift she put in and driving the team forward. And just, that back line, bodies on the line, I just think they executed their game plan brilliantly.
The Aston Villa manager had spoken about being Aston Villa, wanting to be the best, fighting for the 3 points today and every day. And what a 3 points that is, as she speaks to her team on the pitch, those who came on and those who remained on the bench. Just the one loss so far this season. They are impressing at the moment, Aston Villa, and you can see how happy they are. In contrast, these are the faces of the Manchester United players as they listen to their head coach. What can you say at a moment like this, Louise, really?
You've just got to learn from this. You've got to look back at the game. I don't think they used the pitch effectively. They didn't make it as big as possible, trying to walk the ball into the net. Quality on, passes, balls into the box. It just wasn't there for them today.
I mean, they didn't have a shot on target until, I think, possibly close to the hour mark.
Yeah, which is unheard of for United this season. As you've said, they've scored the most goals in the league this season with 19, and that's where they're going to stay for the moment. For them, they need to rest, recover, think about Wednesday now and take those learnings and get it right. They have another shot on Wednesday.
And then also the variety of their goal scorers as well.
Yeah, it's massive, and they've been so prolific as well in the Champions League so far. There was no flow for United today.
Well, there is the Aston Villa head coach in conversation with her captain, but now we can hear from the Barclays player of the match, Kirsty Hansen.
Yep, interview with Kirsty Hansen for Sky Sports and the World Feed. Well, Kirsty, Aston Villa become the first team in the league to beat Manchester United this season. How do you sum up that performance from your team?
It was tiring, I'll have to say, but I'm so proud of the team. Obviously, last week we were very disappointed with conceding so last minute, so we worked hard last week and so happy it came out today.
Yeah, the goal came from a set piece, and now you're joint top in the WSL this season, 4 set pieces. How much time do you put into that work on the training ground?
Yeah, of course. We know sometimes that's what you've got to get in a game against top teams like United. So, yeah, we've been working hard on them, but we've just been doing everything else as well. Yeah,
talk to me about your role today. You were taking the team up the pitch wherever possible. Yeah, explain what you had to do for the team today.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to work hard. I might not get the goal, but I think especially against United, they'll keep on putting pressure on us. So I just tried to get the team forward. Just get them forward, win throw-ins, win free kicks, and obviously corners. But yeah, just tried to do my best.
Is this a result that can really kick-start the season? It's sort of been like an indifferent start to the season, but now is this the result that can really push you on up the table again?
Yeah, hopefully. You can see we've been quite unbeaten. Obviously frustrating draws, but hopefully this win means we can kick on and start getting more wins.
Well, all I have to say is, Kirsty, congratulations. You are the Barclays WSL player of the match. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right.
Kirsty Hansen there, your Barclays WSL player of the match, Louise, and she was asked how that was, and reply was tiring. We could see that because she put everything out there, didn't she?
She really did, and you know, games like that, they can't go unnoticed in terms of, and as she said, she always, you know, almost always had an end product. She got, you know, the corner that led to the goal. She got throw-ins high up the pitch. You know, she bullied some of that United back line.
Well, we have heard from the player of the match. Now let's hear from the winning manager.
Okay, ready? You just gonna move over that way. Thanks. Yeah, interview with Natalia Arroyo for Sky Sports and the World Feed. Well, Natalia, you have not just stopped Manchester United from winning, you've stopped them from scoring as well. How on earth do you sum up this effort from your team today?
Well, it's a massive win. I'm still excited. It's not that I can believe. I know that the team can do that. It's just we were looking at this type of performance so solid, especially after Everton and how we defend. That's the reason why we again were able to have a clean sheet. And yeah, we suffered a bit at the end because they were chasing the game, but I think we were like super solid. They almost couldn't get any type of passes. They look a worse team than they are because we I think it's credit on us because they could not find this type of combinations. And in possession we had chances to kill the game earlier so that we are not I'm not almost dying here of tension. But yeah, super proud. Big 3 points. And again, working and building what we want to be, this type of aggressive team, a positive and ambitious team that feels ready to compete against these top teams.
Yeah, the goal came from a set piece. You're now joint top of the WSL for goals from set pieces. Just talk to me about how much time and effort you put into that side of the game. It looks like Sean Gota as well plays a big part in that as well.
Yeah, we for example, we were talking about different throw-ins. I really believe that as a set piece also. We managed that better today, defensively and in possession, and in set pieces, attacking and defensively, we are trying to dedicate the typical time, really, not more than other days when you are not scoring. It's just we are tweaking it every day, finding different solutions. So I guess for the opposition, it's difficult to analyze us, and they believe that's always about believing it. And they feel, okay, this is a moment for us to shine, and yeah, I need to say thank you to the players to believe in that, and to Sean for the creativity. We're trying to create as much as possible, and so far it's a tool that we're using.
Yeah, that's one side of the game. Another side of the game, Kirsty Hansen, player of the match. How important was her role today in taking the team up the pitch and just relieving that pressure on that back line?
Well, she did another amazing performance. Totally deserved the award. You sometimes need this type of recognition from others. She was a threat. I think Maya Letizier, she couldn't handle it. She was like a moment to breathe for us sometimes, and then out of possession she was working so hard. She's always this honest player, so I'm super proud of her, of having her in our team, and she was one of the key pieces of our win. But it was definitely a team thing. When she had no legs, the ability to play difficult 6 minutes from only creating things, and how Rachel and Sarah came in the game, I think that was important with the starters. But yeah, so good the connection that Kirsty was able to build with Missy and with G up front.
Yeah, just finally, what can a result like this do for your season? You're moving up the table now, but it's been a different start to the season. So what can this do to the group of players?
Yeah, we know this type of games we need to, probably nobody expects us to win, so if we can take something, the point at the Emirates and these 3 points that allows us to believe and to dream bigger. Our next challenge, I can not analyze the big win and celebrate the win without connecting with the 2 draws against Everton and Leicester. These are the games where we need to be able to win. But yes, if we are not, so that point, the point against Everton is important and it's good if we can add these 3. So hopefully that allows us to have this bigger ambition as a club, as a team, as a squad. We know that we have talent, we know that we have the hard work. We just need these wins to believe. So hopefully we can continue against London City and before the break to really grow in the table and think higher.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Natalia.
Thank you.
Thank you. Safe journey home.
Interesting to hear there from the Aston Villa manager, who was basically saying after we let in 3 goals in our last game against Everton, we were not going to let in a goal this afternoon. Solid defensively, but also scoring the all-important goal. It was a corner in the first half that dropped to Miri Taylor. They are scoring from set pieces this season, Aston Villa, and it was Miri Taylor's first WSL goal in an Aston Villa shirt that puts them ahead at half-time. Manchester United obviously keen to respond, but this was Moritz for Aston Villa, who weren't satisfied with just being 1-0 up in this game. Changes made by the home side as they tried to change the scoreline. The air ball in, Malar was there, and so was Toon, but Patton stood in the way of the Manchester United number 7. Shake of the head from a frustrated Ella Toon, who was not going to get on the score sheet this afternoon. Despite everything that Manchester United tried to throw at this Aston Villa defence and their goalkeeper. And there was that late opportunity. Even Tullis Joyce came up from the Manchester United's goal. With time running out, it was the crossbar that denied Manchester United an equaliser. It did finish, though, all square between Arsenal and Chelsea. Chelsea 1-0 up in that game. Alessia Russo, though, with a late equaliser, means that it finished 1-1 there. Aston Villa, of course, winning here against Manchester United tomorrow. It is an 11:55 start between London City Lionesses and Tottenham Liverpool, who are one of the teams waiting to get their first points on the board this season against Brighton. West Ham also with no points so far this season will play Leicester City, and it is Manchester City who are second at the moment, a point above Manchester United now with a game in hand, who are away against Everton in the latest kickoff tomorrow afternoon. So that is it from our commentary today, but lots more Barclays Women's Super League football to come after it finished here with Manchester United's unbeaten run coming to an end. Thanks to Miri Taylor, Manchester United 0, Aston Villa 1.